Well, I want to welcome everyone to the August 27th Reno County Commission meeting, calling to order. See, we've got a good crowd here today, and so opportunity to hear from you as well as to you to hear from us. And so upon this, we will have the chaplain for Reno County Sheriff Department give the invocation, and followed by the flag salute, followed by the invocation.
To the flag of the United States of America and to its republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Bow your heads, please. Thank you, Father God, for each person here today. It warms my heart that there's this many people here. Father, just bless each one of them, everything that they represent, every life that they touch within this community. Father, we just lift up each county person, employee, janitor, no matter what, citizen in a small town. We just lift up each one of those homes, their businesses, and most of all, we just lift up you, Father, and thank you for everything that you do for us, even the beautiful rain that we keep receiving that's blessed this land. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. You notice that our chairman, Don, is not here today. He is on a little short vacation with family, so wish him well. We'll start with some announcements and some proclamations that are really deserved. So from that, this is a proclamation from Reno County for the National Recovery Month. Whereas the misuse of alcohol and illicit substances cost our country hundreds of billions of dollars every year, and we also see the devastating cost on quality of life and mortality that even rural America and Kansas is not immune to. And whereas the impact stretched from families to the workforce, from schools to the medical community, and all feel the effects, and whereas recovery is a process of change through which people improve their health and wellness, build resilience, live self-directed lives, and strive to reach their full potential by better managing health, home, purpose, and community. Furthermore, the Reno County Recovery Collaborative is one of the local resources for recovery and resilience-based services. And furthermore, that by building a durable network of community partners from the medical and behavioral health sector, substance use prevention and education, social services, law enforcement persons with lived experience, and Oxford houses, the Reno Recovery Collaborative partners are poised to offer and refer families the means to build resilience, offsetting the effects of ACEs and reducing the public cost of substance use disorder. And furthermore, as Reno County has been leading the charge in promoting a thriving recovery community by giving support and understanding, instilling in the hearts and minds of our children that there is hope, that all can live a happy and healthy life, and that recovery is possible. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Reno County, Kansas, that September 2025 shall be known as National Recovery Month. In witness thereof, we have hereunto set our hands and caused the seal of Reno County, Kansas, to be affixed this 27th day of August 2025. And I think we'll hear a few words from those who are directly involved in the recovery system.
Hi, thank you. First, I want to take a second.
Could you state your name and who you're associated with?
My name is Thomas Simmons. I work with the Reno County Health Department in health education. And I first of all want to take a minute to thank the commissioners for recognizing September as National Recovery Month. That gives us an opportunity to focus on the solution instead of the problem, which affects everybody in our community. With the Reno Recovery Collaborative, we have 3 subcommittees that work pretty tirelessly on making sure that those solutions and resources are found and also expanded. And those are education and prevention, treatment and healthcare, and recovery supports. We understand that substance use disorder affects everybody. And it doesn't matter if you have substance use disorder, if it's a family member or a friend, or you're just a concerned citizen. So if you guys would like to know more about the Recovery Collaborative, please seek me out. I'm not hard to find. Outside of that, I want to thank you guys again for recognizing that. It helps us to bring awareness, to reduce stigma, and to be able to bring more people into our circle. So thank you very much.
Stay there. See if there's any comments here from the commissioners, and then we'll present you with this. Any comments? I will say that attending some of the events that are having regarding the recovery people and hearing them speak about them, you can see the positive influence the whole county system is doing. If you want to come forward, we'll present this. Come on.
Okay, here we go. One, two. You supposed to have somebody else? You coming in?
I'm good to go.
Okay.
At this time, we have another proclamation regarding the National Hungry Action Month. Whereas Reno County recognizes that hunger and food insecurity are significant issues affecting residents, and whereas in Hutchinson, 52% of our children qualify for free or reduced meals at school. In Reno County, 1 in 5 children and 1 in 8 adults are food insecure. To help with this great need, the food bank last year served over 150,000 pounds of food to over 18,000 individuals last year. Whereas organizations like the Food Bank of Reno County are working to address these issues through various programs, and whereas raising awareness about hunger and providing support to these organizations is crucial. Now therefore be it resolved that Reno County hereby proclaims the month of September 2025 as National Hunger Awareness Month in Reno County. Be it further resolved that Reno County encourages all citizens and businesses to support the efforts of local food agencies and participate in activities that raise awareness about hunger and promote solutions to food insecurity within our community. In witness thereof, we have hereunto set our hands and caused the seal of Reno County, Kansas to be affixed this 27th day of August 2025. And we welcome some comments, please. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Donna Davis, and I'm speaking on behalf of the Board of Directors of the Reno County Food Bank. Some of these statistics that I'm going to talk about, you probably already knew about, but I didn't till I got involved with this work, and I find them disturbing, to say the least. The poverty rate in Reno County is about 10% higher than the average in the rest of the state. So we have some things to work on there. 14.5% of the kids in Reno County live below the poverty line. And senior citizens, 9% of them live below the poverty line. And that's from 2020 census data. So my guess is that it's higher than that now. In addition to those folks living below the poverty line, 29% of Reno County residents are ALICE. And what we mean by that, and you may have heard that, asset limited, income constrained, but employed. These people are working sometimes more than one job. To be considered ALICE, just to kind of a baseline, that means your income is less than $24,000 a year. I couldn't live on that, and I don't know how people do. So when I came in here today, my stomach was growling because I was too nervous to eat, right? So my stomach is growling. But I'm not food insecure because I have food at home. In contrast to that, in 2022, 13.5% of the residents who live in our county were food insecure, and that just means they don't have access to sufficient food. In the number that was in our proclamation, that 53% of the students in Reno County were approved for free or reduced meals, that's from a couple years ago, but I talked to USD 308 Food Service the other day, and they said 70% of the students in USD 308 qualified for free or reduced meals last year. So that number is slowly going up. And according to the food assessment that the county did, last year, 1 in 5 kids said they've had to skip a meal because their family didn't have enough money. And I just so happened to talk to a gentleman yesterday who was coming and looking at some construction work. And he told me that's how he grew up, that they didn't know from day to day if there was going to be dinner when they got home. It just depended on if their family had enough money or not. And all of us in here know the cost of living is rising, while our wages oftentimes are not. It gets harder to make a choice. So last year, the food bank served over 18,000 individuals. And this one is heartbreaking for me, that over 20% of those were our senior citizens. That means that the elderly in our community don't readily have the food that they need. As we consider ourselves the food hub for Reno County. The Reno County Food Bank supplies food to many pantries all over the county. We have 12 that I know of. It's churches, and we also work with many pantries in Plevna, Arlington, Turin, Pretty Prairie, Buhler, Sylvia, and Nickerson. We take food there sometimes, and sometimes they come pick up food from us. We also supply food for shut-ins in Reno County, and St. Vincent de Paul does a great job of taking food to folks. And we have an experiment supplying food to a for-profit organization here in town who asks new workers on intake, do you have enough food to feed your family until your first paycheck? And if they don't, we ensure that they get food. The Food Bank of Reno County serves 30 families a day, 5 days a week, and we can't serve everyone. We have to turn people away. And that's something that a lot of people don't know, is that we don't have the capacity to serve everybody that is asking for food. And here's why. You know, the food bank is in the Salvation Army building. They're kind of in the northeast corner of the building. Have any of you been to the food bank? Yeah. It's just small. It's 2,000 square feet, and that has to house a warehouse and a little tiny office and a shopping area. So we have problems warehousing enough food. Like when we do the local postal workers food drive, we have food stuffed in the food bank, and we don't have enough room to sort it. We can't fit enough volunteers in it to get that work done. And sometimes it's unsafe for our mostly senior volunteer workforce. Another thing this points out, though, on the good side, is that people in this community are so generous. With having Dillon's located here and the postal drive and drives like that all over town, people are very, very generous. However, we limit our intake of food because we don't have room, which means on the front end, we limit how much food we can give to people in the community, and we limit how many volunteers we can have. In our little shopping area, we have 20 linear feet of shelving. So 20 feet, that's all the shelves that we have. We stock it every morning, and then the 30 families come in the afternoon and take it all. Then we have to restock it fully the next morning. It limits how many people can get in there at one time. We can have 2 people shop at one time. So if you're a family that has, say you have children with special dietary needs, you get 10 minutes in there. You don't have time to read labels. You don't have time to track nutrition. You just have to grab what you can get, because in 10 minutes, the next person will be taking your spot. I could go on and on about the downsides of the food bank location where it is now. But what I do want to highlight since it's National Hunger Action Month, I want to tell you what the Food Bank Board of Directors is doing to take action. We are in the process of purchasing and renovating the former Family Dollar building at the corner of 4th and Severance, that whole mini mall where the pizza place is at, and that building needs some revitalizing. If you remember way back when, it was the Pay and Pack building, and that's when they added the warehouse on the back.
That's a long time.
A long time ago. But I do remember it. And what's really cool about this building, there's a couple things. It's set up just right for the food, to have a warehouse in the back. But the really cool thing is that the tenants in the strip mall actually will make our payment for the whole building. So we'll be neutral on that. They will more than make our payment. In addition, good news that we have, and this is the first of this to go out, First Call for Help is going to move in with the food bank and be located with us. So they won't be a separate agency. People can come and get what they need and get help all in one place. It'll be a warehouse, a shopping area, and a home for First Call for Help. So in closing, for many people in Reno County, getting a meal isn't a simple choice. It's an impossible choice. They have to choose between medicine, paying the electricity bill, childcare, those kind of things. Hunger Action Month encourages all of us to address this by participating in a range of activities that all of us can do. And here's how we can get involved. Organize a food drive or a virtual food drive with your family, your friends, or your company, your club, your business to collect needed food and funds. Raise your voice to advocate for those in the community who are facing food insecurity. Invite the Food Bank of Reno County to your club, civic group, church, other organization to talk about what we've got going on. And support the Reno County Food Bank Capital Campaign however you can. And you have the capital campaign brochure in front of you, and I'll leave some in the back of the room. You can give a monetary donation, go online, get on the Food Bank of Reno County website and check out our capital campaign, and you can see the work we're doing. You can see a video we've got posted. So I really appreciate you giving me the time to speak today, and if you have any questions.
Any comments? Richard?
And by the way, I
What's
just...
the timeline on the building on 4th Street?
It all depends on fundraising. We close on it September 12th.
Okay.
It will become ours. So then it depends on how our fundraising goes. We've already started. Our capital campaign is for $1 million, and that's a ballpark of what it'll take to renovate the inside of the food bank to be a mini grocery store and offices for First Call for Help. I didn't realize a forklift costs $40,000, and a big walk-in freezer is $25,000. So $1 million seems high, but when you think about that big dollar equipment, it's not that much. Yeah. It's going to take us some time. So we'll be ready to go as soon as we get fundraising underway. And when I think about it, my sister was a teacher here in Hutch for 25 years. She taught math at Hutch High. And some of her students are in this room, her former students. But I remember she would ask family members from time to time, hey, can you buy me some granola bars? Can you buy me some crackers? Pretty much every teacher I know, because I used to work in the school district, has a food stash in their room. When kids get to high school, they don't openly admit that they haven't had money to eat. That's not cool. But they will come up to their teacher during a quiet time and say, hey, miss, I'm so hungry, I can't study. Do you have anything I can eat? And that's what teachers do, and that's what we do every day in the school system. So this project particularly went to my heart because of the kids and the senior citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, if you come forward, I'll present this. One item that's not on your agenda is a special comments from Winning. It says Reno County Area Transit, RCAT, was presented with the Transit Service of the Year Award, 2025 award, at the annual Kansas Public Transportation Association meeting and expo. And so with that, we want to recognize the great job that RCAT is doing. And Candace, would you introduce yourself and make some comments?
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. Candace Bonison with the Department on Aging and Public Transportation. We are very happy to be here today to provide this announcement of recognition for our RCAT transportation program, which is the Reno County Area Transit. And they had one at the Kansas Public Transit Association, the Transit Service of the Year. And so I want to say, first of all, thank you to the commissioners and everybody that supports transportation. And all of that through these years has made what RCAT is to this point and the people behind it. So I want to introduce the Assistant Director, Natalie Gertson. And then I also want to introduce our newest Transit Supervisor, Mike Ferguson, who was a driver and has been doing services all these years. And then I also have Brian Bruce, who is now our Operations Transit Assistant, who also started out as a driver. So I would like to have that and Natalie say a couple words, but we'll go from there. So.
Absolutely. I'm Natalie Gertson, and I'm the Assistant Director of the Aging and Public Transportation, and I am so blessed. Probably going to cry a little bit, but I'm so excited and I appreciate all that the commissioners do and how they have supported us throughout the years, because this is a wonderful award. It is a state award, and we work really hard. We have worked so hard, and so to be recognized by the Kansas Public Transportation Association, this is like wonderful. So thank you for giving us the time to thank you and know that we've been truly blessed. Thank you very much.
And then just to introduce, again, Brian Bruce and Mike Ferguson, is there anything that you guys would like to say at this point, or your experience?
Just like to say thank you for everything you guys do for us.
I'll echo that. This was a complete surprise. I know that with everything, we have bad days and we have good days, but we always dwell on the good days. We learn from the bad days.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, and congratulations. Is there any comments questions that you commissioners would like to make?
No, just congratulations and thank you for your work.
Well, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good job. I've been in your facility. It looks top notch. So.
And I think where you mentioned the commissioners getting credit for this, I think we just dispense funds that the taxpayers themselves have put into the county. And so the real thanks should go to the people who support.
Absolutely. And that of the ridership that utilizes the services. So we truly always want to say thank you to everybody that has access to our services and those that support us through the years. And then also, we were also going to let you guys know that we are presenting a survey, because we haven't conducted one in quite some time, about our service and the perception of our service. So please look forward to completing that, and it will be available with the Reno County website and its forums of social media and stuff. So thank you.
Congratulations.
And this is a countywide service. It's just when you live out in the rural towns, it just takes some planning on all parts.
Right. We provide everywhere within the county, so we are absolutely accessible.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
I think we're invited up here, are we not? if your reception looks a little different today, I've been informed that just recently, just quickly, that we've got one camera down, so it'll be repaired for next time. Is that right, Randy? One TV monitor, okay. Now we come time to, is there any public comments that anyone in the audience would care to make? I see none, so we'll proceed on with any additions or revisions to this agenda from the commission, from staff? Okay. Consent agenda consists of vouchers, bills or payment owed by the county or related taxing units. Board of County Commissioners' final minutes for June 11th and June 25th. Approval of Reno County Media Disposal Policy. Declare Sheriff's Department Unit 454, a 2017 Ford Police Interceptor unit, as surplus, and authorize Randy Partington, the director, to sign the title. And a resolution 2025-23 establishing the tax warrant court docket fee fund. Any comments? Does any commissioners want to change, move any of these? Have any comments? If not, do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda as approved by staff?
I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented by staff.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any comments, questions? If not, roll call, please.
Commissioner Parks,
Yes.
Commissioner Vincent,
Yes.
Commissioner Winger,
Yes.
Commissioner Hurst.
Yes. You know, yeah, used to doing that, right? When I get done. Want to welcome Abigail. She's going to be doing the recording of things for the minutes, so welcome. Business items is EMS Station 2, the remodel construction bids. Kyle?
Good morning, Commissioners. Kyle Stewart, Director of Facilities for Reno County. So presented on this agenda today are the results from the sealed bidding that took place. It opened on July 21st and then came down on August 18th. So bidding was open for almost a month. During that time, I had answered several questions from 4 different contracting companies. So attached in your packet, we did have 4 bidders for this project, which is a pretty good turnout. So I was very happy to see that. If you notice, all 4 prices were fairly close. So that also tells us that the numbers are competitive. So what I'm asking for today would be to enter into a contract with NBC Construction. They were the lowest base bidder on this project with a sealed or a hard cap of $600,000. The base bid came in at $570,000. So the $30,000 extra would cover any of the alternates and also contingencies for the project. I do have a schedule of values that I will hand out.
Thank you.
So that schedule of values kind of breaks out the $570,000 base bid. So you can put some numbers to it there. So if this board chooses to move forward with going into a contract, I do want to reiterate that we will still be value engineering this project down, cutting out as much as we can of the frivolous things that there may or may not be in there. You know, the ultimate goal is to have a facility for EMS that'll be very solid, well-maintained, and serve the public for many decades to come. This is not to build the Taj Mahal of buildings or to have anything fancy in it, but this is what is needed.
Some of you were involved with the architecture to start with on the commission, so any questions? Any comments?
Not really.
I've already spoke to Kyle about one that I saw that I think just in that 2 items can save a couple $1,000s, and he readily agreed that he's going to be working on those. So
Absolutely.
there's some things, if that was a case, then there may be some other things that we can save some money on, and I think there probably will be. Any other? I appreciate having this. I think that helps. Good to see. If there are no other comments or questions, is there a motion to approve the seal bid from MBC?
The bid's laid out pretty much apples for apples, I assume, in your opinion.
Correct, yes. So with this, we did hold a pre-bid meeting at the site to have any contractors who are interested come in. It's something that was kind of new to me. And we did have 2 of the contractors that bid show up to that meeting. But then I also held other questions and walkthroughs of the facility for the ones who did not attend that pre-bid meeting as well.
Well, I know we had questions in the past on another project, and that's why I was asking that. Make sure we're dead on with each other so we don't, in your opinion, that.
Yeah. Yep, so every company got the same architectural plans to bid to. Any other questions?
I just would make a comment that I appreciate the fact that we had a couple of local builders involved in this and showed interest in it, and I thank them as well as the other 2 from outside the county.
Yes.
So thank you for your interest.
Yeah, and I would echo that statement. You know, both of the companies from within Reno County, both can do the job well. And it's really nice to see local contractors bidding on Reno County items. So.
Well, that would always be, speaking for myself, my preference to keep it in the county if we can, so.
Okay. Any other thoughts, questions?
I like the fact that you're going to be our eyes and ears on the project, so if you have a question, you can come to us or concern, but you're not, from what I've read and talking to you, it seems like you're on top of the ball on this one, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, thank you very much.
And to go along with that, Richard, is the fact that if we didn't have someone on staff that was capable of this, we would have to hire a construction person to watch over. So, all right, what does the commission wish to do?
Well, I'd move that we would accept the bid from MBC Construction. Obviously, it came in at the lowest, and if you're telling me they're an identical bid, then, you know, in light of that, I think we do the thing we'd have to for people, save as much money as we can. So I'd move to accept that bid.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any discussion regarding the motion? Any comments from that? Okay. If there's no other questions or comments, let's take a roll call.
Commissioner Parks,
Yes.
Commissioner Vincent, Commissioner Winger,
Yes.
Commissioner Hurst.
Yes. Motion passed.
Thank you for your time this morning.
Thanks.
Thanks, Kyle.
Item 7B, addendum to the grant agreement between the County of Reno and United Way of Reno County.
Yeah, Commissioners, I think this is my agenda item to speak on. Let me back up and give a little history and overview because, and then I think it'll all fit in together better. Back in 2021, Reno County received American Rescue Plan Act funds, and then the county did a process of discerning what to do with those monies. One of the main allocations was to use it for childcare in Reno County, and as part of that decision, the plan was made to have the United Way of Reno County be the fiscal agent, kind of the distributor, and so that the funds for ARPA would go to United Way of Reno County, who would then reimburse them to child care facilities as part of different projects. The way we set that up initially was to do is just reimbursement. So in other words, United Way would make a payment and then they'd send us a copy and say, hey, we paid somebody, can we have the money back that we paid? We did that at the time because the ARP, the American Rescue Plan Act, was very new and different and not something we'd ever done before, and so that was a very cautious approach to make sure we were only reimbursing everyone. Cautious from the sense we weren't sure what our auditors would think of it. So as time went by, we've gotten more comfortable with this program and administering it. We made one addendum to switch from reimbursing to fronting money. What we're asking the commissioners to approve today is a new addendum to allow the county to more freely distribute funds before reimbursement to the United Way so that they can get them out faster. So in other words, we have a bottleneck where United Way writes a check, comes back to us for a check, and there's a time gap that's kind of putting some pressure on United Way. So if you approve this addendum, it'll allow the county, it won't change the allocations. All the money this is all federal money. It will be spent the same way we've already approved. We will get receipts for everything for our auditor. We will make sure it all happens. But by not requiring reimbursement, we'll be able to get money out the door faster and make an impact faster. So
this is not money to be approved. This is money that's already budgeted and in the specified for this cause.
Yes, sir. This is not local funds. These are federal dollars that have been budgeted for this years ago, and we're not adding to that pile of money. We're just changing the way we distribute it.
Just basically how soon we write the check or whatever, however we get the money to where it needs to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it doesn't take any more money from the taxpayer. Just gets the money out the door a little bit faster. Is all we're doing.
Kind of does. I had some questions yesterday, only that, I know it's not a huge amount of money, but you start pulling out of reserves where we've been drawing pretty good interest, we lose a little bit there. And so that concerns me some, but the bigger concern probably is for the lady standing out there. You weren't part of the original program of this, I realize, and so I'm not going to put too much heavy on you, but I had some pretty serious conversations early on before we approved these ARPA funds as to the stability of some of these projects, and I still have those concerns today, and I know that our counterparts at the city, some of them had that same concerns, and when we go into some of these projects of quite a large amount of money, what's the sustainability in that? I mean, I know it's your money, we're going to get it to you, but in a roundabout way, because you can't front that and wait for it to be reimbursed. I get that, but I still have concerns with a lot of these things that are happening. Who's going to pay in the end if there's not? I guess I'd ask you probably out of the box today to respond to me when I was told that they're going to start creating this super fund as a revolving account to pay for some of these benefits and some of these things that were going to go along with the child care money that was thrown out there. And I haven't seen a dime of that happen, I don't think yet, or we'd have enough reserve to do this without asking us for a give. And so that's my question. Where are we going forward with this at the United Way? If you wouldn't mind just for the public answering that for me, I'd appreciate
absolutely.
it.
I would love to give a little bit of context.
Sure.
My name is Abby Stockebrand, and this is Lacey Mills. We are both serving on the Kids Collective, which is the new organization. We are serving on their board as well as the Reno County Child Care Task Force. As you know, that we were asked to come up with a sustainable plan for child care throughout Reno County. And this is actually our solution to that. So the reason that, you all know that in a startup, those startup funds are hard to come by, right? And reimbursements, therefore, are an extreme large barrier for a startup to be able to overcome, especially with any process that has federal funds is going to have due diligence, as it should. But for a startup specifically, that process then hinders the cash flow. So again, in any startup, whether it's childcare or not, that cash flow piece is difficult, and usually traditional funding is geared towards that, right? Well, childcare is not geared towards traditional funding to be able to help with lines of credit and such like that. This money, we are not asking for a different intended purpose. We are asking for the same purpose that has been intention for years now. The different funding mechanism to be able to get it to us, that's what we're asking for today. So the sustainability piece, Kids Collective is a childcare management organization. So what we found out in a lot of our data and research and talking to providers is that people don't get into childcare because they want to run a business, but childcare is absolutely a business. It's very dependent on the cash flow coming in and cash flow going out with payroll and such. So we believe that this solution is set up to be sustainable for the long term. We're going into all of our agreements and due diligence planning for the future, so that this is not, something that is going to be 1 to 2 years. We want it to be a very long time. It also allows us to have some stability within our community for childcare systems in general, that, as the economy ebbs and flows or opportunities do, this is actually a scalable and retractable approach if need be, that if you have one provider either come online or come offline, you're able to work with those families a lot more efficiently, as well as you have all the systems that are backing it up and the professionals that are experienced and understand the industry better than anyone. So this is our opportunity to do something really groundbreaking and be a part of the ground floor of that in Reno County. We've always appreciated your guys' support and understanding of what we're trying to build. It is a very, daunting task, right? You see that childcare is very important, and it has some barriers to that. But we have done a lot of research and data to find a sustainable solution for that. So again, this is not a difference in what we are asking for the approach to be. We are just asking for the funding differential that we can be able to get that up front. We actually recently had a conversation with iParametrics that Lacey wanted to share with you.
I was just going to share out with the group because I know sometimes when you're in the middle of the work and in the thick of things, it's hard to know if you're, how you measure up to other communities that have received this funding. And we work with iParametrics, which is the business that was hired by the city and county to help assure that every check and balance is in place. And we were having a conversation with iParametrics, Abby and myself. I think it was Abby and myself. 2 weeks ago was a long time ago. But we were having a conversation with iParametrics, and as we were getting ready to hang up the phone and discussions about just some approaches on things, one of the ladies had mentioned that out of all of the organizations that they work with across the nation on childcare with ARPA funds, Reno County is doing it the very best. And not only are we doing it the very best, we are coming up with creative solutions to addressing childcare unlike anything that they've seen other organizations do. And so I felt like that's important to share out because sometimes it's hard to know if you're, like I said, doing something that is groundbreaking. We feel like we are here in Reno County, and it's going to make an impact not only for us here today and our kids, but for kids into the future. And we're seeing that through keeping providers online and in our community serving our families, but also coming up with ways to help centers be efficient in how they do their operations so that they can be sustainable and continue for years to come. So I just wanted to share that with the council, and thank you guys so much for your support of the work that we're doing.
4 years ago, that's when Abby started working with this program. Mm-hmm. And some of us at the council, at the commission at that time, sat in on some of the early conversations via Zoom, and it was quite relevant that sustainability, as we looked at other places like Garden City, as they did, I should say, and I followed up, is that from the commission standpoint, we wanted to see if we could get a program, and they were, basically, they felt the same way, that task force on child care felt the same way, that needed to try and find a way to be sustainable without taxpayers' funds. And so when they had the consultant down here, I even made a trip up to Manhattan to speak one-on-one with the consultant, because I wanted to more personal, if you can ask some questions and see what the attitude is and the outcome might be. And came away from that with exactly the same things that they're looking at doing, and that's becoming involved with the businesses around that have the benefits from child care that they were probably not aware of at the time, regarding tax credits and the amount of time lost. And so the project in a couple of years turned out to looking at an organization, and what was called at that time a co-op, with regards to being able to assist all the people that were not only doing child care, but were looking for child care. And as we all know, there's some with what we just heard from the hunger and the report from the household income, that a certain amount of people in our area are going to have to rely on family and other things, but there's a huge need out there for those with enough income to be able to have an organization that not only looks after the caregivers, but also the people who are needing that care for their children. And so I really have been impressed with what Abby, and I'm going to say Abby because she's worked on it mostly, okay?
Well, it's been a large group, but I do.
And the people that have helped her figure this out, and to know that it's got to be a sustainable project. And that's very, very difficult in this child care world. But I think they've hit upon a project in a way that has the best chances, opportunities to be sustainable because of all the partners that are involved in this and the future partners. So I just have appreciated, Abby, all the work you've done and your people have done, and the United Way for stepping in and being a pass-through. And I think this is what they were heading towards, and they made it happen. It's my call.
I appreciate your words, Commissioner Hurst. And there have been many, many partners in this as well. I mean, our task force has been committed to it for multiple years, and believe in what we're doing, and has also been a great sounding board to make sure that we are on the right track as we continue on this. What other questions can I entertain?
Any comments, questions, Richard? Well, thank you for the presentation,
Thank you very
and
much.
We'd be open for a motion regarding their request. If no one else is, I'll get started. I'll move. Randy, I'll move to approve the request. How is that stated anyway, Randy?
Yeah, it's to, how do we say it? You're really just approving the addendum and allowing it to be signed because the money's already been spent. It's just to approve the second addendum to change the manner in which we're sending out this money.
That's my motion. Okay?
Motion to approve the second addendum.
Option one, as we're presented with option one. Okay. I stumbled through that good enough.
You want a second?
Second, I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any other questions and comments, discussion regarding this addendum? Motion. All right, please, roll call.
Commissioner Parks,
Yes.
Commissioner Vincent,
Yes.
Commissioner Wingard,
Yes.
Commissioner Hurst.
Yes,
Thank you, commissioners.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next on the agenda is 7C, business items. ADE Wifco Steel Products, Inc., job incentive request. And this is a, in a way, it's kind of a follow-up to a commission agreement several years ago, and it was interrupted by COVID and their process to get this done regarding the effects of COVID. So it's kind of a revisit, would you say, Randy?
Commissioners, possibly, I guess WIFCO could probably explain that more, but in 2019, WIFCO and Reno County did have an agreement for an expansion, property tax exemption, and the job incentive. And then COVID hit, different things took place, and it never came to fruition. But last week, the county became aware of a possible expansion and the need for, or the request and need for the job incentive to hire, I believe, 20 new employees, hopefully within the next year, that would all qualify based on the wage for the job incentive policy by Reno County. I believe it's $1,500 per job after they show that they've been employed for 4 quarters. And WIFCO and the chamber have been had some discussions in the last week, reached out to myself, and then so in front of you, you do have the letter, or I'll scroll down, sorry, letter of intent, possible letter of intent that you could approve that does allow staff to create a agreement. We would work with WIFCO to iron out the details. An agreement would come back on probably on a consent agenda or a future agenda next meeting, if you guys are okay with that. But the letter before is what the chamber had sent, stating that Aid WIFCO Steel Products has a plan to add 20 jobs over the next year at or above the $21 an hour. The $21 an hour is in our policy one of the limits that business must have to get the $1,500 per job. So if you guys have any questions, or I guess this is the new state-of-the-art equipment. One of the reasons they need more employees is they have the new state-of-the-art equipment, be the first manufacturer in the Midwest to bring the 26 kilowatt Amada America fiber laser. So staff does recommend, my recommendation is to sign or approve the letter of intent. That's up to discussion, but we do have WIFCO and the chamber here if you have questions specifically for them.
Would representatives from WIFCO and Commission like to fill us in a little further?
Good morning, Commissioners. Deborah Tufel with the Hutch Chamber and Greater Hutch, the Economic Development Partnership for Reno County. And I have with me Josh Stubbs, CEO, and Craig Weingartner, the CFO of WIFCO, officially Aid WIFCO Steel Products, Inc. And we have been working with WIFCO for several years, and this is a company that truly has taken lemons and made lemonade, I would say. They were in expansion mode prior to COVID and added significantly to their capacity in their facilities, and no one could have anticipated the impacts that COVID and some of the market influences that impacted their original business model during that time, where they were really serving the oil and gas industry. But they have truly reinvented themselves. I would say they've probably more than doubled their employment since COVID. They already have added many positions, not counted in these 20 jobs, but today they employ 80 full-time people plus some temp positions, and are really investing now and taking delivery next year of some state-of-the-art equipment that's going to truly be transformational. It's helping them diversify and grow into agriculture, automotive, and the construction industry with some of their structural steel products. So I'll turn the technical stuff over to them, but this is really one of those tools that you have in your toolkit, the job incentive incentive grant program. You've had it as a county for over 15 years. It's been modified a couple of times since then. But under the 2019 model, this definitely does put them in the higher tier of paying over $21 an hour and qualifying for $1,500 per job. They have to hire those people and prove that they've held them on payroll for a year before they could even receive those incentives from the county. But those incentives are kind of one of your traditional tools in the toolkit that help us help Reno County companies grow. So I appreciate that you have this tool in the toolkit. You've done a lot of other innovative things with your Economic Development Reserve Fund over the last year, but this really kind of gets us back to the basics of how we help local companies grow. So with that, I'll turn it over to Josh and Craig to answer questions about the company.
I know the fair's coming around because my allergies are flaring up, so I apologize for that. But happy to answer any questions that you might have. And I can also take us, kind of from the beginning. In 2019, and then when COVID hit, we got down to around 35 employees. And then, after the pandemic, which hit oil hard just because people weren't driving, people weren't flying. But since then, we've diversified we still do a lot in the oil field, and we always will, but we have moved into ag and automotive, and that's really allowed us to take off. So far this year, we've spent roughly $2.8 million in CapEx, and over the next probably year, we plan on spending that as well. One of the things that will be coming in is that 26 kilowatt laser, which really allows us to cut material more efficiently for the ag sector, which a lot of that material is very thick plate. And so a 26 kilowatt is probably going to cut, if you're cutting 1/2-inch AR material, it's going to, speed the process of 4 to 5x. We're around the 80 employee mark right now, and we continue to grow. We continue to have plans for expansion, more on the automotive side, and if we could get the employees, we would probably be at 100 right now. But we're obviously, there's a lot of other companies that are growing as well, so it's challenging to find the employees that we need.
Comments? Ron, this is in your district.
Yeah, and I have a long-time knowledge of Whipco Steel.
Yeah.
They built me several tanks.
Yep.
In fact, I used to go over there and do business with Rob Howe. That's who Whipco bought it from.
Right.
I believe.
Right.
I lived half a mile away, so I mean, it was a gold mine to go over there and find pieces of metal I could use.
Right. Right.
And ever since Whipco bought it, it has grown from I'd say a glorified scrapyard to a lot of things. They have constantly, ever since they have taken over, they have constantly grown. I mean, and cleaned it up. I mean, it used to be a mess, and like I said, a glorified junkyard, and it's clean. The inside's bright. You don't have to stumble through the shop. I mean, it's right. I have ever since they bought it, I've seen them do nothing but grow and do good. I believe their track record speaks pretty good for itself.
Do you have any luck getting any recruits coming to work for you out of high school here with our tech programs or junior college?
We actually have some that we're employing currently.
Do you? Good.
We hope that they will stick around. Some of them have plans, I believe, to continue their education through the Hutch JUCO Weld program, which we would obviously love if they would continue to do that. But yeah, we try to bring you know, whether it's a senior in high school or a freshman at JUCO, we try to
Well,
bring
I just think it's always good for people to know that we are actually producing some workforce right here in the community. Far too often, and you addressed that last night at the supper, Deborah, that some of them stay, some of them don't stay. You know,
Right.
We'd like them to all stick here if we got something for them to do. But yeah, so I was just curious.
Yep.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I actually work at the college in the bookstore, but I've met a ton of the kids in the welding program that they have there. So,
Yeah.
and a $21 an hour job is not anything to sneeze at. So, I'm hoping that you can recruit some local kids and then get the workforce that you need, but also have them be able to stay.
Right. Yeah, and that $21 is kind of a baseline for us. The welders are generally going to make, especially if they have any kind of experience, are going to make more than that.
Nice to see a local company grow.
Yes. Thank you.
Hopefully we can do some things to assist in housing and so forth to make it, to assist you in.
This is money we already have, and it is already budgeted.
This is part of the economic development incentive line item that Deborah mentioned. Yes, it's part of the $400,000 we have budgeted each year for this type of incentive.
Very similar to the Superior Holdings deal, isn't it? Yeah.
Further comments, questions to the gentleman? All right.
Thank you.
Entertain a motion right now. Maybe something come up here.
Hey, you're Mark.
Discussion.
Got him.
We'll entertain a motion regarding the agreement with,
All motion
put a motion to approve.
to ask,
Pardon?
motion to approve as
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded to instruct staff to prepare an agreement with ADA WIFCO Steel Products, Inc. for a job incentive policy and authorize the vice chair to sign the letter of intent. Further discussion on the motion. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Parks,
Yes.
Commissioner Vincent,
yes.
Commissioner Winger,
Yes.
Commissioner Hurst,
Yes. Motion approved. Next item on the agenda, and thank you.
Thank you very much.
And WIFCO. The next item on the agenda is a presentation on Special Parks and Recreation Fund Policy.
Hey, out of the shadows.
Yeah. Good morning, Commission. Good morning, everyone. My name is Joshua Chonga and intern with the Reno County Administration. I'm here to present on Reno County Special Parks and Recreation Policy Fund, which I drafted. The purpose of it is to establish a financial support for the development, enhancement, and accessibility of parks and recreational opportunities throughout the county. The policy serves as a framework for the fair and effective allocation of funds, and the goal is to foster community health, engagement, and long-term well-being. The funding source and background. The Special Parks and Recreation Fund is supported by revenues derived from the Alcoholic Liquor Fund created by Kansas Statute 7941A04. Under this law, revenues from the state are collected to counties, and once received, a portion is credited to the designated Special Parks and Recreation Fund. This policy establishes a clear framework for the appropriate use of these resources to ensure they deliver meaningful and lasting recreational benefits to the community. The objectives of this policy: the county will direct funds to expand equitable access to recreational amenities countywide, to support innovative, inclusive, and culturally diverse programs, and to invest in projects that serve both urban and rural areas, to promote environmental stewardship, active lifestyles, and youth engagement. Eligible applicants. Entities eligible to apply includes incorporated cities within Reno County, except the city of Hutchinson, which is not eligible due to its substantial allocation from the state alcoholic fund. So cities like Bala, Haven, and the Highlands are qualified. Non-profit organizations serving Reno County residents, private and public schools and school districts, community centers and youth focus groups, and so on. Eligible projects and expenses. Projects eligible for funding may include playground and safety upgrades, park shelters, picnic facilities, and restroom installations and upgrades, nature trail development, resurfacing and signage, sports field renovation, lighting and equipment purchases, youth, senior, and adaptive wellness programming, mobile pop-up recreation services and underserved areas, community gardens and outdoor classrooms, and public event infrastructure such as pavilions and stages. Ineligible uses include salaries or wages unrelated to approved recreational programming, routine operational and maintenance costs that are not linked to a funded project. Example, general utility bills, regular landscaping, routine cleaning. Projects that are located outside Reno County, and political, religious, or for-profit activities. The funding process, application cycle. Annual application period will start from January 1st to February 28th. Awards will be announced by March 31st, and project must begin within 6 months of award date. Review and selection. Application will be reviewed by the Special Parks and Recreation Committee, composed of county staff, municipal representatives, and county members. Evaluation will be based on anticipated community impact, project feasibility and readiness to proceed, geographic distribution and equity, inclusivity and accessibility for all residents. Grant limitations. Recipients may not receive a grant if they have previously been awarded a grant through this program and have not successfully completed a funded project, including all required reporting and documentation. Maximum grant amount. A fixed maximum grant amount cannot be determined in advance, as available funding is contingent upon the amount Reno County receives from the state under the Alcoholic Liquor Fund allocation each year. Awards will be proportionate to available funds and the scale of proposed projects. Priority considerations. Funding preference will be given to projects in smaller municipalities and unincorporated areas. Initiatives that improve access to underserved and special needs populations. Collaborative projects between municipalities and non-profit or community groups. Project enhancing public access to Sand Hill State Park, Chine State Park, and so on. Oversight, reporting, and accountability. all funded entities must submit a midpoint progress report detailing expenditures, work completed, and any adjustment to the project scope. County staff will prepare an annual report summarizing expenditure by project and allocation, remaining balances, overall community impact and outcome. Effective implementation. Upon adoption, Reno County will publicize the funds and application process through the county website, social media, and outreach to municipalities and eligible organizations. Provide application guidance materials and technical assistance to potential applicants, and to maintain transparent public record of awards and expenditures. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. Thoughts, questions, comments?
Well, with that, I'm, as far as this Parks and Recreation, I'm sure it's a county-wide deal. I mean, not everybody in the county is going to benefit off. I mean, it's more of a city. Just take like my district, Bueller. I mean, they for that size of town, they have got exceptionally well. Things like this, that's pretty much funded by the city, and I believe that, with the help with the school district there too. They partner on a lot, do an excellent job. You ever seen the facility there on the east side of Bueller? They got everything. I mean, it's top notch. I'm not sure how much the county should get involved in funding this, because basically I feel at some point most of it is going to go to a specific area that not everybody in the county is really accessible to. I mean, obviously there's not going to be an activity center out there by the feedlot in western Kansas. I mean, it's just not feasible. I think that this maybe should fall underneath somebody else besides the county general. As far as funding.
Commissioner,
Can I speak real quick?
Oh,
Well, that's all right. I just want to say it, and probably stepping on what you're going to say anyway. I know this fund, I think, has been laying there for a long time. We haven't been using it for anything. Is that correct? And the other side of it is, in the name of kind of economic development, going further with that, Ron, just to kind of speak to that a little bit, I have been approached by 2 cities that are wanting to do park improvements and things like that that are actually in my district, that could use some supplemental funds to help that roll a little bit. And, I realize that it is kind of a rub to give the cities this money, but I also know if it's been laying there, you can speak to that here in a second, but that we got to do something with it or whatever. So
This fund, well, by statute, the county gets the money, and I think it's about close to a third of the special alcohol liquor tax goes to the special parks fund. So by statute, the county has to spend it on parks and recreation. So it can't really just be someone else that spends it. It has to be the county, and it has to be for parks and recreation. In the past, up until 2023, the money had been allocated to the Hutchinson Recreation Commission, $10,000 every year. There's about, I'm just looking at history, $15,000 to $20,000 a year is what comes in for this money. So it's not a lot of money, and we haven't spent anything since 2023, so it's a little over $60,000 right now. The intent of the policy is to have a process, instead of the money just sitting there waiting for someone to decide to use it, is to have maybe a application for smaller cities, or doesn't have to be cities. It could be recreation clubs, it could be sports teams, it can be just about anything. It doesn't have to be the city. But this is the specified use by statute for is parks and recreation. This just sets up a policy. I will clarify in the policy, it says the city of Hutchinson doesn't qualify. that's the actual city of Hutchinson. That doesn't mean that there's clubs or organizations inside Hutchinson that couldn't apply. I know we've had requests or comments from the Highlands and other cities, but even inside Hutchinson could apply. It's just because the city of Hutchinson, for liquor by the drink sales inside Hutchinson, they get their own fund, and so they already have a special parks fund with this kind of money. This is outside of Hutchinson collections. So that's why we specified in the policy that the city of Hutchinson doesn't get the money.
How did that tax come about?
Yeah. So just to be clear where the money comes from, if you're buying alcohol, if you're purchasing alcohol in the unincorporated part of the county, you have, by state law, we can't get rid of it. There's a special additional sales tax that you get charged. So you're buying beer by the lake or something, some of that money goes to Topeka, and then that money comes back to the county. It has to be designated 1/3, I think, for something related to alcohol abuse, some sort of preventative substance disorder abuse, and then 1/3 for this, for Parks and Rec. So part of the problem is this money just kind of slowly accumulates because it's not a huge amount of money in a year, and we don't really budget for it because we have no idea how much beer sales there'll be in unincorporated Reno County. But it's kind of built up over time to where it's enough to do something with it. And so Randy and Joshua made this policy to kind of direct how to spend it.
Like the Highlands, I mean, they got the golf course, they sell beer, so do they get to keep that money, or does that go into our general fund?
I don't think, that doesn't really collect. It's more, I think that we just have a few alcohol sales that are in unincorporated Reno County this applies to. So it's not very many places that are collecting this, which is why it just has accumulated really slowly. But it started, but now it's 60,000. How much is it?
60,000.
Yeah. So there's enough now kind of built up to where you could do something with it.
Well, now, this is not necessarily an endorsement to go out and drink up so you can help build a park, but I'm just saying.
I wouldn't.
You'd have to be very thirsty to make a difference for a park at these rates, but yes.
I think that there's a lot of smaller rural towns around, just like Nickerson. I know they've talked about years of trying to
Well,
do
they've talked
something
about
up there.
expanding their water park a little bit
Yeah.
too, so yeah, some things like that. Well, it would help families there that have young children for something for them to do, or kids, because they just don't,
Well, I think they ought to get their fair share, like Highlands, Nickerson. I mean, because they in some aspect contribute to it. For what they have in their town. Nickerson has a bar, or the Highlands has a golf course, or I don't. Does Nickerson have a bar anymore? It's closed down. But anyway, yeah, I mean, yeah, they're contributing, but I felt like as generalize it to the county, I mean, it to me it seems more site specific, to most things than it does to just say, hey, general county-wide park. I mean, we're not going to have that. It's got to be somewhere where there's population.
We're deemed by state statute. That's what we're ruled by here on this. I would make one comment though, if we choose to approve this, if we choose to do this, is that we make a correction in this regarding Highlands, because they are an incorporated city now. And where it says, in other words,
Commissioner, I think if I remember, that's one where it says municipalities and unincorporated. It might be okay, but I'll pull that one back up.
maybe it's not necessary, but I related that back to.
Yes, I've looked at that. I think it's in, I can't see the policy from here. It's in
Well, I've been fortunate growing up to live in some small towns that actually had some pretty nice little parks that we got to play on as a child. So I think for young families, if you choose to live in a small town for a reason, whatever that reason happens to be, you should be, I think, afforded the opportunity to have a place where you can take your kids to and have some fun with them without costing a fortune, and enjoy some of the nature that's around here. So I think that would be a good And they have to do an application. It's not like we're saying, here's some, 20,000 to do this or that. You have to apply for it, so.
And it would come back for commission approval. The
Yeah.
committee would make a recommendation, but it still comes back to the commission of allocating any money based on a grant award.
It's pretty open there on the committee, so you have an idea of how many or what? I know it just says, you mentioned a lot of opportunities there. How does that
Hey,
committee be selected?
well, I wondered that same question. Thanks, Ron, for asking that. You should probably say something about, just so the public gets introduced to us at the microphone this morning, if you would.
Right, so, yeah, Joshua Chongo is the public management intern for Reno County and the city of Hutchinson. It is a split position. He's spending the first couple months over here at the county, but Joshua has
Great job.
graduated from Wichita State University, got his Master of Public Administration. This is one of his first policies for Reno County that he's drafted, but he did draft this on his own. Gave him some basic guidelines, expectations, but he drafted this, and I think it looks really good. So thank you, Joshua.
Great job, thank you.
Regarding the size of the committee, I think it's set to where, based on the policy, have community members, maybe a couple people from a city or two that doesn't have a grant application in, so we'd be careful, but I would say we wouldn't want more than 5 people. You get too large of a committee, and it'd be very difficult to organize.
It wasn't stated, so I thought
It's open to where it's not set to where it has to be 3, 5, 7. It's open.
You get too many, and pretty soon your horse you're building looks like a camel.
Hadn't heard that.
Too muddy.
Well, I guess there's got to be an incentive for someone to.
His mic,
apply.
your mic.
There might be an incentive for somebody to apply for it before we can approve it or not approve it, right?
Well, if you create the policy, then we will set it up to start in 2026 for applications. Right now, no one has technically applied because we don't have a process for them to apply. Technically, the county commission could, at this meeting, say, well, we want to give all the money to blank. You could, but we thought, Joshua and I were talking, thought a policy would be better. That way everyone knows that the money's available and how to apply for that money. It is limited in dollars because 60,000 is what it has right now. Brings in about 15, 20 a year. So we wouldn't probably want to recommend awarding more than what the annual amount is.
So
Okay.
we have this money that's ear tagged for this.
Yes.
Period.
Yes.
We have no way for Carol to come get it, or.
Right now, there's no process, but if the Highlands wanted, as an example, if the Highlands had a park project and they wanted to apply for money, after this policy is put in place, she and the city of the Highlands could apply, or the city of Arlington, or anyone else could apply in January, and before the end of March, the county commission could decide how to allocate those funds.
Well, I mean, if that's that's the case, we can't spend it to make our budget work next year.
No, a third of the money from the liquor sales does go to the general fund. As Patrick mentioned, the third goes to right now drug court. Drug court gets 10,000 out of that fund. General fund gets a third, and then special parks and recreation's the other, just under a third.
I guess if we have to do it, we better figure out a way to.
Well, I think it'd be good.
To make it, to
So
do
that
it,
could
I mean,
be-
to let it
well,
sit there and
move.
accumulate without being able to use it is pretty senseless.
And the committee can decide what their, however scoring system or whatever is used, right? Yeah.
Once this policy doesn't have specific details on that, it's kind of a new policy, but it's really meant to set up a process so the funds, as Commissioner Vincent said, so the fund doesn't just sit here and grow with people that may need it but have no access to get it.
Okay. Is there,
I'll motion if you got a motion time.
Commissioners?
For a motion.
Commissioners, actually, we were discussing, this is just the introduction of the policy. What we'd like to do for staff is just, if this is relatively acceptable, we'll put it into a resolution, bring it
Okay.
back to you guys next meeting and let you approve
That'll
it
work.
possibly in the, okay. That way it'll be a resolution, so when our auditor's saying how we spent the funds, we'll have that resolution done.
Yep.
So.
Put together pretty well.
Sounds good.
So if I'm correct, we need a motion to proceed with the Special Parks and Recreation Fund policy.
If you just direct staff to prepare a resolution, if you're okay with the policy, we will have a resolution
And just-
for next meeting's consent agenda.
Just do all in favor if you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any objections?
I'm in.
Nope.
Okay. So directed by unanimous consent of the Board of County Commissioners. All right. Start off with monthly department reports.
Okay, in the packet is monthly reports for the Health Department, Human Resources, Information Technology, Public Works, Solid Waste, the Treasurer, and Youth Services. Any questions on anything in the monthly reports? The next report I have in the packet is the financial report. And this is through July of the year. And I believe I had some notes, about 58% of the year, assuming all expenditures and revenues came in at equal installments. They don't. Obviously, there's some parts of the county that does more work in the summer or the fall or winter. So right now we are in good condition. You can see the funds. Any questions on anything in the funds? The first few pages is a general fund. Sorry, I'm going pretty quick but just kind of show the cash balance. You can see that most of our revenues have come in. We still are collecting motor vehicle taxes and sales tax and miscellaneous funds, so that will go up. The expenses, again, we'll spend close to probably over 90% by the end of the year. So the cash balance will go down. This doesn't include the just under $4 million that we have set aside for cash reserves. That is cash reserves, but it also covers any emergencies or large expenditures that were unforeseen. So the general fund is in good condition right now. Aging, transit, pretty good condition. And then public health fund is really good. Any questions on any of these funds or any of the financials?
Anything else, Randy?
Yes, I have a couple items. I wanted, and I had asked Public Works Director Don Britton to be here in case there are questions. Before the next meeting, we're going to have the budget hearing for the county budget, and we've talked about that in study sessions, but the special district budget is also going to be on next week or next commission meeting agenda. And I just wanted to clarify specifically for the Highlands, their sewer district. The mayor at the last meeting, I believe, presented survey results about the majority of people responding to the survey for the Highlands would like for the bond for the sewer project, the payment for that bond previously had been split 50% user fees, 50% property taxes. A couple years ago, the commission changed everything to remove property taxes on utilities. So now it would all be in utility fees, which means their utility bills more than doubled for this year or for the rest of this year, which would still stay in place. But my understanding, the residents of the Highlands would prefer all of the bond payments or the revenue for the bond payment come from property tax. We have that in the budget, but kind of as I've said in the past, if that's not what you want, it makes having the budget prepared and ready to be approved more difficult if you make changes on the day of the public hearing. It can be done, but right now the summary page for the budget for the special districts would have Sewer District 8, the Highlands Bond and Interest Fund, have a proposed estimated tax rate of 15.678 mils for all of the revenues to pay for the bonds to come out of that property tax. That would bring in the bond and interest payment, bond principal and interest payments for 2026 is about $103,000. So the revenues would come from property taxes. I just wanted to clarify that's what the majority of the commission wanting, and then does that clarify, Carol, Don, for what you guys, okay,
Well, I stated that here a while back. I think the majority of them started stating out there, if I'm not mistaken, Carol, that they would rather have it on their property tax. Some of them perhaps could use that as a write-off and some things like that. But I mean, I would certainly ask this board, if we make action on that, to follow what the people wanted at the Highlands, because the money's going to become available to use for what we need to, one way or the other. But I think that more evenly disperses it for them out there, and certainly does what they've asked for. And it's, after all, who we work for is the people. So I just want to state that.
okay. All right, I just wanted to verify because we didn't talk about that at the last budget session. So. And then just, I sent an email to you guys, goat milking contest, the celebrity goat milking contest, Friday, September 12th, 3:30 p.m. The Sheep, Swine, and Goat Barn.
From way back.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I know we have at least 3. I wanted to just kind of say, I know Commissioner Parks, you mentioned you could do it. Commissioner Hurst, Commissioner Bogner mentioned he could, but I think all 3 of you is, also unless someone else wants to do it. But so I just wanted to.
Isn't Bogner the ringer?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So
Will Hogg.
No, actually Daniel was.
So. And then we'll put out a press or a notification to the public that 3 commissioners, even though that's not a public meeting, they definitely don't talk about business. But on Friday, September 12th, there will be at least 3 commissioners there. So.
Certainly could be an utter disaster.
Utter disaster. Pretty good.
Yeah.
We supposed to laugh now? We supposed to laugh now?
Commissioners, that's all I had.
All right. Ron, do you have any comments?
No comments.
Randy?
Well, I haven't had the last couple of times, but I will say I attended an open house at the Open Door Clinic the other night. I believe it was last week. And I'd encourage people to stop by there and see some of the things they're doing. And certainly their outside, if you want to call it ministry, or outside service that they provide going to colleges. And so some of them get a little resistance. They don't want to have it there. They want to act like they'd never have a problem at some of the colleges. But I think what they do goes beyond an immediate need for somebody that's in distress, and future people might need that service for several of the things they do. So they've continued to stride and do some things I think are really neat. And I'd encourage people to look into that. I mean, we all got relation and friends and things that would maybe benefit from that service. And so, and then attended a dinner last night. Mr. Partington and I did take the wife and out at Gaddart's, that farm to table, and that was a neat event. Deborah was, and the chamber was there, and so quite a few people. Neat setting out around the sunflowers, and so the weather was certainly very nice last night and cooperative. They couldn't have planned a better day, but who would have known it wasn't going to be 100 degrees, and so in August. But a really cool thing to go to, and so I appreciate that. Appreciate being invited. So.
Richard?
Well, just so you kind of know, when we have these meetings and we talk, I visited or said a comment last meeting about a house that was in disrepair, and amazingly, a fifth wheeler showed up, trailer, with some workers, and now they're working on it. So that's kind of a benefit, I think, from being up on this board. But and it's going to be a house that will be livable again. So because right now it's not. Another thing, with school starting, we have a little one that's staying with us, so we got to put her back in school. We haven't done that in forever, but I got to meet some great teachers and the staff there at the school at Ferris, and it's just kind of an eye-opener to see some of the young students. Of course, being at the college too, just uplifts me some to see some of the people, the younger people that are here in this community, and some of the stuff they do. I know we've been talking about affordability in houses, and the other thing that I do is I drive around quite a bit, and I've seen some empty lots. Maybe a house had burnt down, years ago, and now I'm seeing for sale signs in those lots. And so that's got to be an encouragement, because you could buy a lot, a more expensive lot someplace else, but you might get a lot here in Hutch and be able to build you a nice house and take advantage of that property. So I just want to pass along some things that I've seen, some positive things. I'm more of an optimist, I think, than a pessimist. And so I'd like to look forward to I know the hospital's hiring some more people, some more doctors and people like that too. So and anyway, there's a lot of good news going around. A lot of times all we hear is the negative, and I'd like to just pass along some good stuff. So I appreciate being up here, and I know our decisions that we make sometimes is not as hard as some others. The budget's a stiffer time, so we've got to make decisions that affect everybody. So, but I just want you to know that there is optimism out there. If you have a chance, having this Hunger Awareness Month, if you see something or somebody does something good and you want to pay it forward and do something good for somebody else, I encourage you to do that, because it's one of the greatest feelings in the world when you get to do that. So anyway, that's just my 2 cents worth. Thanks.
To go along with that, in what Richard just got done saying about the optimistic out there is from our trip around to Partridge, Arlington, Plevna, Sylvia, Turon, and Pretty Prairie last Friday, is that we're seeing some communities, not all, but some communities that are really positive, looking forward, just needing some help, needing some knowledge out there. And I think this will help with the Extension Office and then with collaboration among different units here itself. I want to say congratulations to a local businessman, Michael Hinton, who was just nominated and will be inducted into the Ag Hall of Fame, along with Mr. Perdue, who was the Secretary of Ag in the Kansas Hall of Fame. So I just like to comment about the fact that there is, Richard, some good optimism out there. I think we just need to maybe throw a little kerosene on the fire. So that's all I have. Anything else? We'll consider the meeting adjourned.